It's time to start packing for an exciting summer ahead, with car camping, a trip to the beach, and even a long-awaited visit to relatives in another state or country by plane. Yet, you can't help but feel anxious for that upcoming airplane ride and wonder how you'll handle layover time in airports. What will you eat and what can your family eat now that you're embracing a vegan or plant-based diet lifestyle? Let's talk about this today. I want to help lower your stress and anxiety about that upcoming plane trip. In this episode, we'll look at what you can really expect when it comes to airline meals and some things you can do beforehand to help make your air travel more successful when on a plant-based diet. So grab your favorite cooling summertime drink and join me on the inside. See you there. Welcome to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Anna Zinn, plant-based registered dietitian and transition coach. Hi friend, do you want to regain your health with plant-based eating but feel overwhelmed and lost about how to do it? Do you feel it'll be hard to change your meat-heavy diet and impossible with working, running the home, or chasing after the grandkids? If so, you're in the right place. Here you'll find simple strategies, clear nutrition guidance, and practical tips to help you thrive plant-powered with more energy. So if you're ready to ditch the guesswork and transform your health the stress-free way, cozy up now with a hot cup of tea or listen while you walk, and let me show you how doable plant-based eating can be. Let's do this. I want to first thank a listener with Apple ID rbible09 for taking the time to write and leave this 5-star review on the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. She wrote, "Reversing diabetes. So encouraging to hear the podcast on reversing diabetes. It is not easy to go against mainstream medicine guidelines, and I am excited to begin this transition for my husband. I'm excited to listen to more of these podcasts on plant-based eating to help us navigate the change in lifestyle. I've only been doing it for a short time and am already seeing positive results with my health. Thank you for making these available." Thank you, rbible09, for your sincere, heartfelt 5-star review. I'm so glad you found episode 5 on plant-based versus keto and type 2 diabetes informative and helpful. That's fantastic that you're already seeing beneficial changes in your health with your own diet change, and that you're wanting to help your husband move into a plant-powered lifestyle as well. Keep listening to this podcast. I hope it will help you and your husband as you continue your plant-based diet journey. Friend, if you would like to support this podcast so it can help more people like rbible09, you can do so by leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. If you have an Apple device, find the Apple Podcast app icon. It's a purple square with white circles. Open it, then search for Plant-Based Eating Made Easy. Once there, scroll all the way down past the 5-star symbols, then click on Write a Review. Leave a star rating, write your review, and then tap Send. That's it. You can also leave a review if you have iTunes downloaded on your PC computer. Share about how this podcast is helping you in your plant-based diet transition and journey towards the best health. I would love to spotlight your review here on the podcast as well. Thank you for supporting the podcast in this way. Now let's talk about eating plant-based and traveling by air. Well, I've grown up traveling, mostly by plane, since young. In fact, I think my first big airplane trip was when my mother took my sister and I back to Taiwan to visit relatives and celebrate my first birthday. I have a picture to prove it. My children are pretty airplane savvy now too, because we often travel back to Asia to visit relatives and friends. But since going plant-based, I've had to adapt and learn how to manage eating plant-powered and still make those airplane trips smooth and successful for our whole family. So I want to share some of my experience from traveling and help you be better prepared for your next upcoming trip by plane. So let's dive into this now. First, let's talk airline meals. Usually for long-haul flights, meals on the plane are not that much of an issue. For domestic flights in the United States, I've seen some plant-based items like a snack plate with hummus and crackers or a salad that can be chosen from the onboard menu for some airlines. For international flights, you can also select ahead of time when booking your flight that you would like to have vegan meals provided. I remember for the Taiwanese airline called China Airlines that there was even an option to select if you would like a Western vegetarian meal or a Chinese or Asian version. And even if the airline only provides a vegetarian menu selection option, you can still pick and choose the actual food items to consume from the options on each tray given. If you want to take things a step further, another thing you could do is inform the airline well in advance that you have an egg and dairy restriction. So they will treat it like an allergy and not include those on your tray. So do all these measures work? I have to be honest, not 100% of the time. Airline staff are busy and there can be some mess ups along the way. So sometimes an airline company does forget or makes a mistake, but at least you have tried your best to set yourself up for success. Now let's talk about the actual quality of the food provided. I do have to warn you, the food sometimes can be a little hit and miss depending on the airline. Personally, I did not find the economy seating on board food provided on Western airlines like Delta Airlines that appetizing. I will say, though, that once I was pleasantly surprised on Canada Airlines to receive a delicious chickpea curry and rice combo for a meal. The difference is, unless, of course, you're in first class. A relative of mine who eats a regular diet often travels for work and occasionally takes first class or gets a free upgrade to it. He sometimes likes to order the vegetarian menu tray selection and then snaps a picture to show me because he knows I'm eating plant-based. It certainly looks more fresh and inviting with more fruits, vegetables, and sometimes even a tasty entree like a nice colorful fresh salad or vegetable noodle dish. You might be asking me now, what if I'm eating a whole food plant-based no oil diet? I completely support you if this is your eating pattern of choice, but you will need to be more prepared when you are traveling by air. Just know that your options will be more limited. That's because the airline pre-prepared food will likely have been cooked with oil. In these cases, you could plan more ahead by bringing a wrapped cooked potato or sweet potato with you onto the plane, as well as packing some fruits, dried fruit, nuts, or seeds to enjoy as well. You can even bring your own plant-based home-baked muffins or granola bars to take on board too if you like. But if you do bring fresh fruits on board, just make sure to finish it before the plane touches down at the destination airport. Because usually there are rules that prohibit or restrict food items like fresh produce being brought into a country. Or you will need to declare it on the customs form. And even if you didn't get a chance to buy or bring any snacks from home onto the plane, know that you won't starve to death. At the very least, you will be able to subsist on the bread rolls they provide, just forgo the single-serving butter packets, as well as the hot coffee or tea and salads. Some of the biscuits and crackers can be vegan too, so check the ingredient lists. Just know that once you reach your layover airport, you may have time to grab a plant-based meal at a restaurant within the airport. That's what we have often done when there is a 2 to 3 hour layover at an interim airport. Or when you reach your final destination, you can look forward to having a proper meal there and may be able to visit a grocery store soon after landing to load up on local fresh fruits and vegetables. So today I shared with you some key things I've learned thus far from my trips by plane since our family moved to a plant-based diet lifestyle. We looked at what you can expect from airline meals when on board the plane and things you can do to improve your experience prior to boarding the plane. I also gave some simple strategies to help those of you who are on a no-oil, whole food, plant-based diet. I hope today's episode helps you feel more prepared with what to expect for your upcoming trip by air. Now here's an action step you can take. If you have an upcoming flight planned, take a moment to think about one thing you can do to help make that air travel easier. Whether it is to pack a plant-based snack you can bring, or to check if a vegan or vegetarian meal tray option is available for the airline flight you've booked. Take a moment to find out what is possible with your airline, and you might be surprised. Thank you so much for listening. If this podcast has inspired, encouraged, or helped you in some way to transform your health, I would love to hear about it. Please take 30 seconds to rate and leave a written review on Apple Podcasts to let me know. It will encourage me so much to hear how this podcast has positively impacted and made a difference in your journey towards wellness. And share about this podcast with a friend or loved one so we can all thrive in the best health. Remember, plant-based eating can be easy and doable. See you in the next episode, my friend.